What up? What up? We are here. It's Golden Spaces, an Odyssey original podcast. It's Justin and Kariemah. We are here after the Warriors, as you can see, destroy Milwaukee. 35-point victory after a 52-point loss. Probably one of the biggest differentials from a game-to-game basis in Warriors history for sure, maybe in NBA history. But good win. Good feel-good win to start the homestand. They got a game tomorrow, and it was good to get the guys sitting early.
Yes.
We'll get into the game. There's a lot of fun things that happen, fun performances from guys that we love to see good performances from. Kariemah, how are you feeling after this victory?
I'm feeling pretty good
Pretty good.
because this was awesome. After we got our butts whooped, didn't want to show our faces for a little bit, to come out at home and to put on this type of show, this was great. So I am feeling really good about this.
I am as well. I mean, the Warriors defense, right? This is the first game in months, I think since November, where they've had no one on the injury report, no one missing time due to suspension or anything. They had the entire roster at their disposal. The rotation is now shifted away from Dario, obviously away from Lester with Chris Paul being back. Moses played a lot. Trayce played a lot, which is what we've been asking for. And those two dudes are the two biggest standouts from tonight, I think.
I agree.
Just hellacious defense from both of them. Moses, particularly on Dame Lillard when he was matched up one-on-one with him. Picked his pocket a few times, I think. Great contest on his step backs. Dame was just hitting step backs kind of all night. And when Moses was on him, he wasn't really hitting them.
Nope.
And Trayce, meeting Giannis at the rim multiple times. I think he blocked him 3 or maybe 4 times tonight.
Yep.
Completely stonewalling him at the rim, making him pass it out. That's you just using his athleticism, his size, his strength against Giannis, kind of frustrate him a little bit, make him settle for jumpers. And then on the other end, dunking everything. I think just overall, this victory is this is what this team was supposed to look like. This is what we envisioned. Maybe not exactly this, the way it's shuffled now. We anticipated Looney being in the rotation.
Mm-hmm.
We anticipated Pods not being in rotation, but
right.
just based on the style of play, the performance, the defense, the ball zipping around, everybody being a threat. This is the best version of the Warriors right here. This type of performance where they just completely lock you down and then everybody is just sharing the wealth offensively and everybody's a threat. What do you think about their chances as far as sustaining this going forward? Because like I said, it's the first time they've had this roster fully healthy in months, the first time all season.
Right. I think they can sustain this. It's really all about the health of the squad that really kind of just kicks things off. So for them to come out fully healthy and this be the first game plus the very first test, Milwaukee's been, like they said, a 6-game win streak. They're not some team to sleep on. So for us to come out fully healthy and to put on this type of performance, that bodes well with these next 21 games left for us to actually make some movement in the standings and get out of the play-in. We keep this kind of performance up, everything is gravy.
For sure. I mean, just looking at, just some general numbers right here. They held the Bucks to 38% shooting. And I do think the Warriors are a bad matchup for the Bucks. The Bucks scored 9 points in the fourth quarter, by the way. That's absolutely ridiculous. But
they beat us. Well, we beat them out in that third quarter with 15. So, hey, all right, balance.
That's true. But just in general, we're a bad matchup for the Bucks because the Warriors have so much speed and athleticism throughout their roster. And the Bucks really just have Giannis as their only high level athlete on the team. Everybody else is a little bit slower, a little bit, like stronger, bulkier players, but so they
Right.
don't play the Warriors well. But 38% from the field, 28% from three, while the Warriors, on the other hand, shot 56% from the field and 49% from three.
Ooh.
It's like everybody was swarming. They got 10 steals, they got 13 blocks, as you can see in our banner here. Just everybody's all over the place using their athleticism, their speed. That's the Warriors basketball. Like as Clay was saying at halftime, ball zipping around and they're just
Yep.
defending. That is their identity. That is their path to being the best version of themselves. And they have to sustain that going forward. Obviously, they play tomorrow night, but they should have fresh legs. I think Steph was the only player 30 plus minutes,
Yeah. Didn't he have 31 minutes, I think?
31 minutes on the dot.
Mhm.
Not too worried about him, but just in general, completely balanced all across the board. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 people with double-digit minutes. Like that's your main rotation right there, obviously. And they just put on a hell of a performance. Let's get into some individual performances, though. So
Yeah.
we're not going to start with any of the starters. We're going to start with, like we said, our two main guys who we've been asking Steve to play for all season. Moses Moody and Trayce Jackson-Davis.
Woo! Yeah.
Moses Moody was, again, a team high plus 22 in his 21 minutes. Scored 6 points, 4 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal, 1 block. But those stats, even though they're a little modest, don't tell the whole story about like what he was doing out there.
Right.
Just a pest on the ball. Because of his length, he can contest shots from a foot away, 2 feet away. Just his energy, his IQ is something that's underrated as well. Like he's always in the right spot defensively. Like maybe
Always.
offensively, he may make a few mistakes here and there, and he views himself as a scorer, which he is. So a lot of times when it's his turn to set the screen for Clay or Steph on the pin down, he kind of misses it because he's going for the ball. But other than that, like he's always in the right spot. Defensively as well, like taking passes away, just being in the way, right? And that's something that's 80% of defense is just being in the right position and then having the length and athleticism to make the plays the other 20%, which he's shown he has as well. So like, what do you think about his performance tonight in particular?
I thought it was fantastic to be able to step up to the challenge and say, okay, I'm going to take Dame. I'm going to be, the one on him anytime. Plus, he was also doing switching, like quick switching onto Giannis and just staying down and not reaching, not doing anything crazy. I don't even think he fouled in this game. Maybe once, if that. Like, he was just everywhere. See, everywhere where Dame was, he was like, I'm taking the Pepsi challenge. I'm right here. I'm going to make him work. And he made Dame work for everything anytime he was out there. And just like you said, Moody he gets it on that defensive end. He knows when to help, and it's like, now I'm not going to come off a Dame. Like, you don't do that as we saw others do. But yeah, but again, just not enough to say about Moody just defensively. And I think what happens on offense is that he works so hard on the defensive end that sometimes in the offense, I think he kind of maybe wants to be just a little too perfect and like, oh, I don't want to mess this up. But he's doing such good work on the defensive end that, hey, take your shots when they're there on the offense because they are going to feed you because they notice what you're doing on the defensive end. So I think that will come because we have seen him just like, I'm shooting and that ball's going in, and you see him in garbage time. All of a sudden, he's like, I don't have to work on defense in this little group right here. Now he's taking his shots, making them. So, now he's more aggressive on that end. So just a good balance with Moses. And it was good to see that he was getting those minutes. Like all the work that he did do previously didn't go to waste.
So. Yeah. Refreshing to see because like you just said, like you just explained, he is a very good player. So it's like, it's not like one of those things we just want him to to play because we like him. It's like, no,
Right.
he's actually really, really good. I mean, it showed in his plus minus tonight. And, I've said a few times before, he is probably the closest thing they have to Draymond defensively in terms of his IQ and his positioning. Draymond is so strong and like, all the other physical advantages he has in his experience, but Moody just gets it. He just gets where to be, doesn't miss rotations. And, we just hope his role can continue to expand from here and he can continue to play well in this role. But the other guy, Trayce Jackson-Davis, 7 for 8 from the field. Pretty much everything was at the rim. 15 points, 4 blocks, pretty much all on Giannis. 6 rebounds in 19 minutes. Completely changed the game because it was looking like for a second that the Bucks were coming back, which they were.
Right. Every team goes on a run. That's what basketball is about. Game of runs. Go for it.
Yeah. And Trayce came in with his energy. He stopped Giannis a few times, and that just stopped the Bucks run dead in its tracks. And the Warriors took off from there and didn't look back. And this is the type of impact he can have. Like, there was a stretch there where Draymond was just not looking good, right? Like, he was turning the ball over, missing every layup.
Every layup.
He wasn't really doing anything to stop Giannis either, really.
Nope.
And then Trayce came in there and was just a different look. And that's the Warriors' superpower. Like, they just have a bunch of good players. So at any point, they can give you a different look. And if you aren't ready for that particular look, they can go on a run. And then from there, like, the momentum will just carry them out the rest of the game.
Yeah.
But, I mean, shout out to Trayce Jackson-Davis. He can do things that no one else on this roster can do. And his chemistry with CP3 and his chemistry with Clay obviously feeds them in that second unit as well because teams are, reacting to Clay as a shooter, for one. So he's getting opened up. And then second, Chris Paul is just a master manipulator in that pick and roll, so he can just get Trayce lobs all day.
Yeah. And Trayce in the closing lineups there, he also has chemistry with Curry. Like, he's just got that it. And the fact that they threw him in there was very encouraging as well. I mean, to say, all right, Trayce, you get in there, and still rode with him even to start the fourth as well, and then to close.
Yep.
Like, hello.
Yeah. Steve finally took the Band-Aid completely off and said, all right, like, we're just going to play our best players. Like, that's what it looked like tonight, right? Looney only played 6 minutes. He was actually solid in those 6 minutes, but it was one stint and you're done. Dario didn't play until garbage time. Lester didn't play until garbage time. And from there, their main rotation was set, right? They have 5 guys off the bench in double figures. Now, Wiggins is probably going to play more minutes as he gets back into the groove. He only played 14 minutes tonight. But, I mean, the rotation seems to be set right now. And this is their best rotation. These are their 10 best players here. Yeah. So hopefully they keep riding that wave going forward. Can't not talk about Steph Curry. Just, ridiculous shot making. He had a slump. I think they said he missed like his last 15 threes or something like that.
Yeah.
Last 2 games. Yeah. He's getting a little slump. But one thing we know about Steph is, he's going to get back to his averages at some point. So he hits 6 threes. He's going to keep shooting. Shoot. He going to shoot on and off the court, as we see he got a 4th baby coming.
Right. Pew, 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 pew.
But he had 29 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists tonight. Typical Steph performance, only 31 minutes. And hopefully he can say, all right, that Boston game was like a wake-up call for us, and we need to get it going for this home stretch. And I'm going to just get ready for the playoffs, get in playoff mode.
Yeah. And he had a long stretch of resting when the bench, pretty much got the game back like all the way together. He had a good stint rest. I was surprised that he was at 31 minutes for tonight, but just having that pocket, that long stretch of a rest, I think bodes well for tomorrow night. So
for sure.
That's good.
For sure. So shout out to Steph Curry. JK back to 28 points again. Again, this is one of those matchups, like I said, the Bucks are a little bit slow. So he can get to the rim, dunk. Brook Lopez don't really want to guard him on an island. The only person on the team that can stick with him on an island is Giannis.
Right.
And Giannis got to guard everybody else too. So it was heavy pickings for JK tonight. That
Yeah.
mid range was hitting. He had 2 threes in the first quarter. When he's like
Yeah.
doing the 3-level scoring thing, that's where it's like really okay. You can see really, really high ceiling for him, star potential wise. I don't think he'll ever be like a knockdown 3-point shooter, but if he can give you 1 or 2 a game on like decent volume, because they're going to be wide open, it changes things for his
It
trajectory as a
does.
player, because his downhill attack is already one of the best in the league, and teams are scheming for it, and he's
Mm-hmm.
making the reads out of it. Filled the stat sheet completely again. I think the other night he had like 2 steals and 2 blocks. Tonight he had 2 steals, 3 blocks, 20 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists.
Okay. Okay. I mean, he did have a really good game. There were
Mhm.
some pockets, but
Right.
you see, we got that quick timeout there, pulled him to the side. You do not help off a game
Right.
ever,
Ever.
ever. And it was like, okay, now we get back out there.
Mhm. Especially when Draymond is the guy that's on the island. You just leave
Right,
Draymond on that island and live with the
right.
results. But yeah, that's a part of his process as growing as a young player.
Growing,
You got to
yeah.
know, hey, certain matchups, certain players, there's a no help rule, and other, there's a major help rule. So, but yeah, JK, great performance.
Yeah.
We had Klay Thompson come in only 21 minutes. It didn't seem like he was out there for a lot of the game. I mean, because he wasn't, he only
Right.
played 21 minutes, but like he had his little pockets where he was making plays as well. And that's
Yep.
kind of like, I think that's what they want his new role to be. It's like, make your impact when you're in there.
Mm-hmm.
You might not play 30 minutes tonight, but the other team should feel you when you're out there, and just play within the groove. It shouldn't be like a Klay sticking out, whether it be for a
Right.
negative, you know what I mean? Just
Mhm.
just make it be like the Warriors are playing, not just like,
Seamless.
yeah, seamless. It shouldn't be anything like deliberate in terms of like Klay trying to get himself going and stuff like that.
Right.
Just play within the flow, and good things are going to happen because he has gravity still and he can hit open shots.
And
And
I thought, oh, go ahead.
no, I'm sorry. You can go ahead.
Yeah, and I thought that's exactly what he did. He played the perfect game tonight. He played well on defense. He hit the shots when he was open, when it was there for him. He made the proper pass. And he out here dunking on folks. What?
He did dunk. Yeah, we got a Klay dunk. I
You
wonder how
know?
many dunks he has on the season. I wonder how many dunks he has on
What,
the season.
2?
Yeah,
3 maybe? 3 tops. Three's gotta be tops.
let
Like
me check that. Let me check that
but
actually.
just the fact that you know, yeah, you may not have felt him as much, but he stayed within the flow of the game, and that was perfect. And 21 minutes, he's probably gonna like kill it tomorrow night, because he's
Mhm.
already revved up. He took his boat into work today, so he was on cloud 9. Oh, I
Mhm.
love it.
CB3 said it. He is kind of like he said the heartbeat of the team. Like whatever his emotions are, that's kind of like what permeates the rest of the team. And that's his way of, I guess, leadership, right? Like Steph leads
Mhm.
by example, Draymond leads with his voice, and Klay is just kind of like the emotional pulse of the team, for lack of a better term. But
Right.
that is his second dunk this season. He only has 2.
Look
Good
at me.
vibes. Good vibes. I mean, like overall, good performance. Like Pajemski, 7 rebounds, 3 assists.
Yeah.
Paz is funny because he gonna go out there and steal some of those rebounds.
Yeah, someone, I think it was KP, on the timeline. He called out. He was like he was Russell Westbrook
Oh
esque,
yeah.
and it was like, oh, that's the perfect you know, what you call it name for what Pods is doing out there because him and GP too fighting over that last rebound, and GP
Mhm.
looking like homie.
Right.
I'm getting this rebound. Like relax, relax.
Yeah, Paz definitely, his rebounding numbers are a little Westbrookian.
Yes.
Um, it's okay. More rebounds, the better. So
I mean,
we
we'll take it. We'll take
yeah,
it
we'll take
because
it.
he's got the nose for the ball, and that's
Right.
great. And he started to hit his shots, so that
Yes.
was good.
Yes. I mean, the Warriors aren't going to shoot 19 for 39 every night, but it's always good when they do. But it just goes to show. I mean, Draymond 2 threes, Kaminga 2
Mhm.
threes, Pajemski 2 threes, Chris Paul 2 threes. Like you're probably not going to beat the Warriors if all those dudes are hitting threes.
Right.
To be honest, but like they have to have some type of consistency as a shooting
Right.
group.
Threat.
Right?
And threat.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like Steph and Clay, for the most part, are going to hit their threes like majority of the time. Wiggins, we still got to get him to hit his threes at volume.
Mhm.
I think like once he gets up to 6 or 7 attempts, him hitting like 3 of those attempts would be massive for this team as far as like just relieving pressure on the inside. But the Draymond, Kuminga, well, not really Kuminga, but Draymond, Chris Paul, and Pods, like the traffic cop guys, them being able to hit that 3 and punish the defense for sagging off of them is going to be huge because it'll just open up, everything for JK, especially Steph and Clay, making teams pay for selling out to those 3 guys. And, that's where the Warriors get really, really hard to stop. When they're defending, and then when the traffic cops are hitting threes, you're probably not going to beat them. So,
Right.
gotta keep that up. But I mean, there's been a lot of talk about the Warriors record against, like we said last pod, against good teams. Well, this is a good win against a good team. They're 41 and 22. The Bucks are. They're, like you said, they were on like a 5 or 6 game win streak going into this game. They didn't play on a back-to-back, right? This is, Giannis was kind of had like some Achilles issues, but he played. Alleged. But he played, and they spanked him. Put it on them from the jump. So that's a good performance. They need to build upon from there. They don't play many more of these type of teams going like for the rest of the season. I think just Minnesota left is like one of those like 40-win teams or stuff like that. But
Dallas can still be a threat as well.
Dallas is going to be a tough. They played them 3 times. But I mean, just looking at the standings. Speaking of Dallas, looking at the standings, the Warriors are tied with Dallas for losses. So with the win tomorrow night, they will have the same exact record as the Dallas Mavericks. I don't think did the Dallas Mavericks play tonight? I don't know if they played tonight or if they played tomorrow.
They played last night, and I think that was their back-to-back, if I'm not mistaken. So
gotcha. Okay. So yeah, we can just tie their record tomorrow night with a win over the Bulls. The Kings are beating the Lakers right now, so they will have 2 more losses than the Warriors. It's looking up. It is looking up. Now, the Kings are a team that's ahead of us, so we kind of need the Kings to lose too. But it's getting closer and closer to that 5-6 seed that they want to get out of the play-in.
Right.
The Mavs play Miami on Thursday. Okay. So that's tomorrow. Yeah. So let's hope they lose. Miami's decent. Let's hope they beat the Mavericks.
Exactly. Everybody is like, no, we gonna root for you right now. Knock these folks down for us. Yeah. But we would be remiss to not mention, hey, welcome back, Andrew Wiggins, which I had called on previous pod episode that he would probably be back during this home stretch. And look at that first game. He's back. And it doesn't look like he missed too much of a beat. And he was out there, looking regular. So we'll take it. So whatever's going on the family end of that, we still, hope and pray that everything, whatever pulls through. Because to me, it sounds more like it possibly could be someone might be dying or something. So that's just kind of how I feel like maybe it is. So we just, keep him in prayer. There we go. But welcome back, Wiggins.
For sure. Welcome back to him. Hopefully it doesn't take him too much time to, get back in peak physical shape, because if you take some time off, it's inevitably going to have some type of effect on your conditioning. But as far as like emotional shape, like you said, praying for him, anything negative that's going on in his life, we hope it all comes back to, going good for him so he can be in a, good headspace and continue to, good space period. And everybody in his family and in his circle is safe and healthy and stuff like that. So I wanted to get a little bit into some of the young guys and, kind of discuss, their roles, because this isn't something that's customary for the Warriors or any really team that is hoping to contend, right? So many young guys in the rotation, being heavily dependent upon. And it's, I mean, I guess this is kind of like what Joe Lacob envisioned.
Envision. Yeah.
They finally got the right guys. And it was always like, for me, I always thought about it like the 2 timeline plan in itself is kind of flawed, but it's possible to execute. The only way it's possible to execute, though, is if the young guys you pick are like really good and ready to
Right.
play and mature already. And the older guys are, not out of their prime completely and stuff like that. So far, all of our young guys are playing.
Yep.
And they're playing major roles, right? JK and Paz are starters. JK is kind of like by default now the second option. A lot of plays are run through him. A lot of offenses run through him. He has a huge responsibility now. And Moses and Trayce are emerging into, backup, off the bench guys who are relied upon heavily as well.
Right.
I think each of these guys have a high floor already. And, I think each of these guys actually have a high ceiling as well. I'm looking at Moses Moody in particular, and I'm thinking like, how good can Moses Moody actually be? I was on a timeline talking about like, let's say he gets a little bit stronger. Let's say he works on his handle a little bit, and let's say he can finish around the rim a little bit better. Like that's a player that's like a starter on a contending level team. Like I think that's a really good player in the future. Like he's only 21. Like, what do you think his like ceiling is? Like, how good do you think he could be ultimately?
I think he could be a potential starter, like on a like non-championship, like ready team. You know what I mean? Like a team that's trying to get there and it's kind of like midway through. Like I could totally see him on the Cavs. You know what I'm saying? Like
right now,
like, well, even kind of like right now, I think he would totally work with on that squad too. But I think he could still grow into a starter on like how the Cavs are currently. I could just see him just walking right up in there and it's just like, all right, let's go, but that's with the getting stronger, you know what I mean? And working on that handle because he's got the shot. He really does.
Yeah.
So I just think the sky's the limit for him, but I think he'll always be like a rotational player who you can start him at any point, but you could also just throw him in at any time as well, and you're going to get some production.
True. I actually think when I'm looking at his game and like his physical profile and stuff like that, I'm thinking, okay, like who plays his role in the NBA right now on like contending teams? Like if you look at Denver, I'm looking at somebody like KCP, right? Like just 3-and-D, right? Like he's obviously a 3-and-D wing play finisher. He can get to the rim a little bit, but mostly catch and shoot and just defend the other team's best player. I think he can get to that level, right? Like I think, Wiggins is another guy, 3-and-D. So
you just gotta turn them on. You gotta wind them up.
Turn them on a little bit. I would love for Wiggins to be a little bit more downhill, kind of like JK, but that's just not in his nature and in his game. So he's more 3-and-D. But yeah, I think Moses can be championship level 3-and-D guy, to be honest. I think, like I said, with those adjustments to his body and just more experience, stuff like that, I think the sky's the limit for him. I think some people were kind of having like the Middleton type of comparisons. I don't know if he's quite Middleton, like in terms of just being able to
I
get
can see it.
I can see it.
Right. Like you could see that.
But it's just like, how likely is that? Like that's best case scenario on offense, I think.
Yeah.
For Moses. I mean, Middleton's also like 6'7", and Moses like 6'5". But yeah, I think
but I was like Paris LeVert. Like that's who I was like thinking of, on the Cavs or whatever, just how he shoots that three. He plays that defense, and he can handle. So it was like, that's kind of like what I was seeing for Moses. So
for sure. In Trayce, we can obviously see his comps are just all the rim running bigs. Like every team can use that defense, play above the rim, that type of guy. Like probably will never be an all-star caliber player, but can just be a good rotation guy, I think, for sure for, I mean, most of his career, all of his career. And then
He has good hands. He
he
does.
does have good hands. He has good hands. He has good reaction time. He has good
Yeah.
like the speed in which he processes things and then
I was
makes
just
the
gonna
play.
the awareness.
Yeah,
Just
for sure.
already knows where he
Mhm.
needs to get to. And kind of just like already knows this pass is gonna come here right at this moment, and he's
Yep.
there. So
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, especially on the roll, like you can tell he benefited from playing in college. One for 4 years, two for an NBA coach, a former NBA coach.
Right.
So when he's on those rolls, he knows like, okay, I need to rise up and finish here, or oh, this pass to the corner is wide open, and he's like making the pass on the money. I think the next step for his development is
Free throw.
one, yeah, free just being a little bit more like have better touch with his shot on the free throws, but using his right hand to finish.
Mm,
He only finishes left-handed. He only does anything left-handed at this point. So I think if he get a little bit of right-handedness in there, that'll be great for his finishing because you're not going to be able to use your left hand every single time at the rim.
right.
And then like on defense, learning from Draymond how to cat and mouse and like stunt at the ball rather than just go full out. I got to
Go
block this
right, right.
every time. So just being able to do those things, I think, can take him to the next level. And to me, if you can just get solid 15 to 20 minutes, 25 minutes out of him every night, rim running, athleticism, dunking, and stuff like that, any team can benefit from that. So sky's the limit for him as well. I mean, I really like all of our young guys, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think all of them have, sky high potential. Kuminga's obviously, I think, has all-star, all-NBA ceiling just because he has tier one athleticism.
Mhm.
And, he has a baseline of skills and his pull-up ability, his finishing ability and stuff like
Yeah.
that. But if he expands on those things, that's when you get into like really, really high territory. And
For
some
sure.
people say, hey, he got to get a jumper, which is, I mean, 3-point jumper would be fine. But
But
I
that
don't know if it's
mid-range
necessary. Right.
is really spot on. Like,
It is.
that's real I'm actually impressed by that every time I see him take that shot because I'm like, wow, like you're really doing this at
Mhm.
such a young age. But it just looks like no, he just like goes right into it and juxtapose that with Wiggins when he's doing it. It's just like we don't know, we don't know, we don't know,
Right, right,
And
right.
I didn't mean to pull Wiggins in like that, but but that's where early on Kaminga doing that, it's like, oh, please, oh, but he's so much
Mhm.
better at that
Yeah.
than Andrew is. And it's just like, Andrew, I'm gonna need you to work on that. Like, check out what Kaminga's
Right. Get with
doing.
his trainers in the summer.
Yeah, because Wiggins should be a lot better at that, I would think. So
He shoots him a lot, to be honest. He shoots the middies a lot.
right, that's what I'm like.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's really great to see that from Kaminga. It's just like, wow, he's really good at that shot.
hmm And I think the swing skills that put him into the next level. One is a handle.
Mhm.
Um, two, I mean, his handle's okay, but it's not like he can get to it wherever he wants, whenever he wants. If he
Yeah.
can have that type of handle, then it's going to be hard for people to guard him because then he can just get to his spot and rise and shoot,
Mhm.
or just get by you and lay it up or dunk it. And this isn't really a skill, but getting a little bit stronger. So guys like Giannis and like Aaron Gordon and these bigger forwards
Mhm.
can't just like hold him up.
Right, right, because we did see that.
Mhm.
It was just like he got stopped. Like,
He got
boom.
stopped. And then it just turns into like a
A
contested mid
turnover.
or a turnover. Um, and from there, like if you put the strength, because if you look at Giannis is just like he don't got no mid range and all that type of stuff, right? Like he's just pure athleticism, but he has the handle, the footwork, and the strength to just go by or go through people, and that's why he's so
Go through
unstoppable. It's
for
like
sure.
it's like
Yeah.
imagine if you give Kaminga a little bit of that Giannis strength, unstoppable.
Mm.
Unstoppable. I mean, and then he's already starting to make the reads, the passes, and stuff like that. So sky's the limit for him. And then with Pods, he's just the ultimate, Swiss Army knife guy. And I think he can just only expand upon that. I don't think that's all-star level player at his peak, but I'm not going to put a ceiling. I'm not going to cap him off and say he's not going to be an all-star or something like that. But
Right. Because he plays defense, he gets assists, he grabs boards like crazy, and he works on get his shot up better, which is wild because in college it was all about his shooting and scoring and everything. But again, he's doing a lot more of those other things on this team than he had to do in college. So of course that shooting is going to fall off a little bit. But I think, listen, he's got a great mentor in one of the greatest shooters of all time that he can watch and learn from. So that's what we want for that part to come along in his game. And he has the time to get right. And, again, it's all about working on those free throws like that.
I think he's kind of like a rhythm player too, kind of like Steph, Clay, and all these guys. Like the higher usage he has, the more shots he gets to take. I think the more comfortable he'll be in his shot and his shooting. But yeah, right now he's more of a spot up, wide open guy, and that's why sometimes percentages can be deceiving because I'm sure he's still around 40% from three, but you don't look at pause when they're actually playing and think like he's a dead eye shooter. You don't think that.
Nope.
So that's going to have to come later on, and when he gets into a better groove and stuff like that. But he still finds all these other ways to impact the game, and I think that's the biggest thing with his game and his ceiling is like being able to do everything. So
yeah.
Shout out to all the young guys. There was some conversations on the timeline about who should get a statue. Pivoting to the older guys. Do you think Steph alone should get the statue, or you think Clay and Dre should be included, or maybe they all get their own, or maybe like, what do you think the statue situation should be?
I think if statues are built, the fact that it has been the three of them really staying together and going through all of this together, I think that they all can have the statue together. But of course, I think Stefan's should be larger, kind of like, Clay and Dre on the sides. It kind of, but Stephen Curry. As well as Klay Thompson and Draymond Green, that kind of thing. But I definitely think they deserve statues.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I kind of agree. If it was three different statues, Steph being in the middle and being the largest, and two smaller ones on the side,
yeah,
Klay and Draymond like having their own little iconic moments, I think that's actually perfect right there. To be honest, like a lot of people were saying like they got to be together. It's like they do, but you have to acknowledge the fact that Steph is the one, right? Like, he's the guy. I think putting all of them like the picture where they're all walking together with their arms around each other, that's cool.
Look, that's cool on a t-shirt. Okay. That's cool to put on a poster.
Right.
But statue-wise?
Right.
Come on.
Yeah. Like, it's like, like, really, come on.
Like, we ain't the same thing. We've been here together, but we ain't the same.
Exactly. So, hey, hopefully that's not for another however many years. Right. But when it does come, I'm all for the idea of Steph getting his own big statue in the middle, Clay and Dre getting their statues on the side, smaller, but they all get, recognized. But obviously Steph needs to be recognized the most because he is the franchise player. He's the guy who started it all and, has brought it to these heights. So,
yeah. What do you think about KD getting a statue? Because I did hear, rumblings that, KD should get a statue. And I'm like, pause on that. You don't get a statue for 2.5 years. I'm giving him 2.5 years. That's not statue worthy.
No.
The fact that they even want to retire his jersey, I still take issue with that. I'm kind of like, wait, why are we? Why? Why?
I
Yes,
was
he
going to
came,
say
he helped and everything, but
he helps crazy.
I think what I'm saying is he got his rings, and I think that's recognition enough.
Mm.
But do you think that it's deserving of a retired jersey?
I was going to say retire. I was going to say, yeah, retire his jersey, but the statue, nah.
Hmm. Yeah,
Statue, nah.
absolutely not to a statue. Like, get
Yeah,
out of here with that.
nah.
And Laker bet not even suggest it.
Yeah.
Like, no.
Yeah, I was gonna say you can retire his jersey just because, like, I think a jersey retirement, it is a big deal, but it's not like the absolute biggest deal. Like Michael Jordan got his jersey retired in Miami. Like,
Oh, he did? Oh,
yeah,
dang.
his jersey's retired for the Heat. You can't even wear 23 for the Heat. That's why LeBron had to wear number 6. But
Huh.
yeah, I mean, MJ is just the GOAT. There's so many reasons why he's the GOAT.
Hmm. Okay. Wow, I didn't even realize that, but okay.
Mhm.
Well, convince me that, a jersey retirement, sure, why not? He
Mhm.
did help in getting 2 championships. So,
Yeah,
okay. Okay. I
yeah.
can allow it. I can allow it. I think early on when they were talking about it, I was like, it was still too fresh. And I was just like, absolutely not. Not the way he just exited here,
Mhm.
one toe in, one toe out. Get out of here. So maybe, okay, another year I can think about it.
No, I feel you. I feel you. I'm not one of those like we need to show so much appreciation to Katie. It's like, yeah, we already
Yeah,
showed it while he was here, and then when he
that,
started doing the weird stuff on the way out, then it's like,
that,
all right,
and
bro,
then he continued on that path after he was on
yeah,
X team and then on X team over here. So
mhm, yeah. It's like
relax.
we can relax a little bit, but yeah, I think all of the Hamptons 5 should get their jersey retired. To be honest, the big three, Andre
Hmm.
and KD, all get their
Yeah.
jersey retired because there's an infinite amount of numbers that you can. I mean, not infinite, but like
D-
there's so many more numbers people can wear. Like just retire their jerseys, whatever.
Right.
Recognize that moment as this the peak of the Warriors franchise history. Their run
Yes.
from 2015 to the present. So everybody who had like a major role, you know, all the guys that was there driving the bus
Hmm.
should get their their jerseys retired. And then Steph, Clay, and Dre obviously get their statues in the front of Chase Center. So
Right.
boom.
I
But do
like
we
it.
have anything else?
No, we
No.
don't. Just, hey, snacking wins. That's what we've got next.
It wins. We will have a mailbag, so look out for that on Twitter today. If you're watching this, the day of you watching this, so we will answer those questions after the Bulls game, and we will see you guys then. So follow us on all our socials so you can see when I ask for those questions on the mailbag. Instagram, Twitter. Watch us on YouTube. Listen to us on wherever you get your podcasts, and share it. Tell people about it, and leave positive reviews and like and share and all that stuff. So we will see you guys
Yay.
tomorrow night after the Bulls game, answering your questions and reviewing that game. Peace.
Peace.